Hello, I'm trying to make a video or something. So I'm trying to take my journey here more serious, less the edging and everything. And actually, there's an easy trick that you can apply if you struggle with edging. You can, if you, for example, know you have some important appointment, or you're, for example, going out and you want to be in the best charisma, but you struggle with edging, then you start abstaining from edging in advance. So when you have an event, on that day you don't edge, and the day before you also don't edge. For the beginning, it is enough to get the ball rolling. Because this is already enough to boost your charisma, because you already have like full balls because you're not releasing and everything, and you have already a strong drive because of the edging and because it creates urges. And then when you have the discipline to just stop for 2 days, already this will transform into massive charisma boost. This happened to me. So I went to the bar, students bar. One girl that is normally like avoided, shy, who never talks to me, she came by, looked at me, said hello. So I was like hello. And then there was another girl, and we were playing table soccer against her. And she already noticed like I play very good and everything. And then it got warm, so I took off my jacket, and she saw like my muscle and everything that I work out, and I realized she got attracted. It was obvious. And later I was just outside vaping. She was there, so we were talking, and she directly asked for my name, and then she was joking and mentioning my name in the conversation, oh, you did this, you did that, and mentioning my name while talking. Yeah, so kind of flirty, kind of teasy, it was obvious. And then she was like, okay, I'm going in again. So I was like, yeah, sure, go in. She left, and later I just went again, my doing my own thing. And at some point I entered into the bar, and she was leaving the space, the room. And so we met at the door, and she directly was like touchy because there was not enough space, touching my shoulder while going through. So obviously got attracted. By the way, a little pro tip: if you are interested in a girl, like I'm not interested, I have a girlfriend, I'm just telling you that in case you are like single and something like this happens where you have a nice interaction with the girl, don't chase her directly afterwards, and don't give her time to breathe. You should always let her time to breathe and so on. Then she knows you're not desperate and anything, and this is of course attractive to girls. So for me now, this is of course easier than ever because I am generally not desperate, because I don't even need anyone, because I have a girlfriend already. So they always pick up on that. Because when you run after the girls, they always, even if they had initial attraction, even if your charisma is high, they will be start to think that you are desperate and that you are too needy, and this is never good. So it has always better effect to leave them their space. Just wanted to mention that. But in general, yeah, so I had good charisma. There was also another girl at the bar, the bartender. I was asking her for a drink, and she was obviously too excited, so she was bumping there, throwing something over. Obviously too excited, and not being able to stay chill while I was there and waiting for my drink. But that's enough on the girls' attraction. Just wanted to tell you that it works, that even when you are just edging, and then you take like 2 days off, then your charisma returns already. So it's already a very good thing. You're already retaining, you already have a streak even though you edge. But when you edge, you lower your charisma, and then you need always a few days break to get back on the nice streak. But this is also an easy entrance point to then prolong your edge free time, because in the beginning it's the most difficult. But if you just say, I want to stay like for 2 days, or you can even start with 1 day, but better 2 days. You say for 2 days I will stay without edging, then afterwards it's easy to just continue. You're like, okay, I can do one more day, I can do one more day, always like this. In general, it's a good mindset to always just look at the current day and say, today I'm not going to edge, no matter what. And then when the next day comes, you just repeat, you just focus on the day at hand. Yeah, when you focus too much on, oh, I have to retain for whatever, 3 weeks or whatever you want, This is much more difficult from this mindset if you have this in mind already, because it feels like climbing a tall mountain. So it's much easier if you just go day by day and you see what happens. You can also, by the way, additionally use prayers. You can pray in the morning. Some people pray in general, then you can add it, or you just do it for this. You can pray, Dear God, help me to not relapse, and it will probably work because you're connecting with this higher power, imaginary or not. It's something as a concept higher than you, and you channel this higher energy. Or you, if you have strong urges, of course, you can also pray in that moment, and then you have a strong will to not relapse, because, or even to not edge, because you even ask God for help, and then you don't want to betray that you prayed for nothing. It really works. Yeah, and this girl, she was Italian, that she was so flirty with me and even touchy. She was like, "Oh, you're strong." She probably said because I took off my jacket and she saw my muscles, but it was also because in the game we played table soccer, I was playing strongly to make my goals, making very strong moves always. So she said like this, but when she was about this, it's never really because you are trained or anything. This is just something that girls will compliment you on, or they will even notice that when you're already having high charisma. But if you have high charisma, they always find something to compliment or to like about you. Like, even if you don't have muscles, they will say probably your hair looks nice, or you look cool, or whatever they will say. But it's a nice, of course, booster if you already have a worked out body or whatever. Like, I do normally 1 day break, oftentimes if I don't feel like working out, but other than that, I have a routine. 1 day workout like calisthenics, everything where I lie on the floor and do push ups and six pack, leg workout, all of these, Russian twists. And the other day, I do hands workout, I do expander stretching for my chest, and then I do triceps, biceps, hammer curls, squats with weights, so stuff like this. So this is my routine, and then I also take protein shakes, and I take creatine before that because it's supposed to make you be able to endure even more during workout. But I don't know if this is the most necessary. But protein shake, of course, really helps you to build muscle. That's for sure. Um, Yeah, and I have my family court where I have to fight for the child custody over my daughter next Thursday. Now it's Sunday, so I might just continue now with my streak and not edging. At this point, I consider edging like breaking my streak. I'm now at that point. And now that I was like 2 days free of edging, and with today it's like 3 days, I also realized the difference. I would drive with the car of my grandmother, and she was sitting next to me. And in the past, I was always getting so annoyed when she was nagging that I don't drive the way she wants, even though I drive okay. She's too annoying about it, always nagging. And I know that when I was on not such a good streak, I would get very angry and we would argue about it. But today I could much more easy let it go, and I just told her, "You're lowering my mood with what you're telling," and then she was just okay and stopped. So it was a very different dynamic. And even with my daughter, I'm more present when I spend time with her. I can laugh with her more easily in public, and I don't care anymore, and I'm just more in the moment, and I'm enjoying the moment more. I really noticed it has a positive effect on your mood when you even abstain, like just from edging. Um, yeah, I guess it's also important to edge. Sorry, important to be on semen retention and do the real monk mode, and don't edge and nothing, because it trains you at some point to be able to lucid dream and then also to astral project. And I think this is important. I mean, I only managed one very good, strong lucid dream so far. And in this lucid dream, I basically, in the dream, went to the students' bar, took a girl, and kissed her in the dream. And then we had, like, we slept with each other in the dream. And later, whenever I saw her, like for many, many weeks, she was more attracted towards me because of that dream. Because I was sending different signals through my eyes, I guess, somehow, subconsciously. But anyway, other than that, I could never make a lucid dream, not a real one. I had just two weak attempts other than that. You know, I always, when I try to lucid dream, I especially also try to do it with pills. I take wormwood and how is the other one called? Let me look. There's another type of pill. I'm typing it. Mugwort. I take two wormwood pills and two mugwort pills to be able to lucid dream. So I take them before dreaming. But then what happens, I have more vivid, intense dreams and I can see visuals even before sleeping. But then I'm still not conscious, even though there are always some symbols that should make it obvious to me that it's a dream, because they are not like reality is. For example, there was one dream, I was talking to my child, but normally I have a daughter. And in the dream it was her half-brother and I was talking with him instead. And I should have noticed something is off. Or I went in my dream to the toilet and there was a man standing, which was actually scary. But this should have also woken me up to the fact that this is a dream. Or I was playing exactly this level of this video game here in my dream, and suddenly there appeared profi killers, men in black, that normally just appear way later. Because I managed to find an Easter egg in the game, it really exists. But then this in the dream made those men in black appear. And I also should have noticed, therefore it's a dream, but I did not. So these things are like port keys, you know? All of these things that should not be, but they're like port keys. When you can spot them in the dream, you can use them to teleport yourself out of the unconscious sleep into lucid dreaming. Also, one time I was out in my dream and I suddenly looked at my shoes and they were black. And I even thought, hey, my shoes are in reality white, why are they black? So I should have understood in this moment it's a dream, but instead I looked again and looked more closely, and then I just saw, oh, they're actually dirty and they are white. And then I kept still being unaware in the dream. That's the problem. But if you're able to manage to have a lucid dream, you shouldn't waste your time on sleeping with someone in a dream or whatever. You should instead directly say that you want to go into the astral. And then you can, for example, let yourself fall back or something, or you can fly into the sky, and then you will arrive in the astral realm. It's not the same like a lucid dream. It's much more clear, and there you can get information, higher knowledge, find something out about yourself or the world, or go to places and see places that exist in reality. So this would be actually the goal. And this is also important because at the end of life, what happens is, it's also taught in many near-death experiences, that people basically see a tunnel and they go towards the light. And this is a mistake, because then they there meet some archons. They pretend to be angels and they tell you have to go back to Earth because they show you many places where you fucked up during the lifetime, and they make you feel guilty, and then you want to come back. And what really you should do instead is, because this is like a prison planet and they want you here for luge farming to get your energy, because this is a fallen matrix controlled by the demiurge entity, which is not part of the divine blueprint, and we are all caught here. We are from this matrix. The whole evolution of humanity happened within this matrix, and we need to escape it. So what we need to do is, when we have such a moment at death and we see the light at the end of the tunnel, we don't go there, and instead we find another more dim light, not so shiny, and this is where we really have to go. At least this is what Buddhists say. There are many monks who teach this to other monks. Before they die, they give them instructions on how to preserve and go out of the prison matrix. Okay, this is of course very crazy, but yeah, maybe it's true. And so when you die, and you are not able to lucid dream or astral project, then you probably will also not have enough awareness to, in this state, decide to not go into the light and look for another place to go. That is maybe the real, escape from prison planet, and not just a repetition of the samsara cycle. And to harness your spiritual power to be able to maybe go somewhere else. This is for what you need this clarity of mind. And this is where monk mode, semen retention, brahmacharya, and so on come into play. Because then you can master that. But this is, of course, especially important when you're already getting old, that you until then mastered it. But you should start training early on, because later it won't be easy. If you just start late, then you will probably not be successful, because the temptations are too strong of this fake world here. So yeah, this is something I wanted to say. Also, interestingly, I thought more about the New Testament, about the Revelations, and I really don't know if I should believe in what is written in the Revelations, because it even like Martin Luther was skeptical about the Revelations, if they should really be part of the Bible or if they are not a divine teaching, because what is written there really differs in style from the rest of the New Testament. And if you look at the world, how everything now plays out with the wars with Iran and so on, and all of these parties are referencing their Revelations texts from the Quran and from the Bible, it seems like they are utilizing it, and that maybe this is just a script for the Cabal, for the dark side, and that is actually not part of the real word of God, the Revelations. Because it all is just too eerie, too weird, how it all falls into place like a script, like the other Daniel's 70 weeks that only come to play in the Bible. There's a coded message about them. They only come to play after the rebuild of Israel, and how this all just happens exactly like it's written in the Revelations, as if it's just a script that the elites are playing by, and maybe this is how they all want to trick us, and this is not the truth. And every Christian who falls for it is just, getting fooled and actually helping the whole system to continue instead of breaking free from it. So this is also just something I wanted to say. I don't know. I guess it was a weird video again, where I was just rambling about different stuff. But I guess I'm happy I did it. Yeah, let's see what I do. I will tell about the family court, I guess. Let's see if I continue now with my edge-free streak. Well, I don't know. At least this is the plan. Like, share, subscribe. See ya. Bye.